This video is for my student Özgün. We're going to talk about the EA spelling in English. What do you see in this picture? And this one? And what about this one? Probably most of you said tea, bread, steak. What do you notice about the EA spelling? That's right, they all have different sounds in these three words. We have the E sound in tea, the sound in bread, and the A sound in steak. And you might also have said meat for this picture, in which case it has the E sound, which is in tea. So here we have tea, bread, steak, all using the same EA spelling. The challenge is, can you take this group of words and sort them out into three groups depending on what sound they use? Pause the video now and I'll tell you the answers afterwards. Okay, let's say the answers together. Tea, team, leader, teach, eat, see, speak, clean, peace, bread, head, ready, dead, heavy, instead, healthy, breakfast, steak, break, great. Notice how in these two words, break and breakfast, they belong to two different groups, even though they do use the same original word. Here is a very common example of this same problem. What is the little girl doing? Of course, she's reading a book. And when we use this verb, read, we can pronounce it with the E sound. She reads every day. She's reading at the moment. But if we talk about the past, we use the sound. She read her book yesterday, even though the spelling is the same. You've already seen three different ways to pronounce EA. Is that the end? Of course it's not. Shakespeare says, no. Of course, English is more complicated than that. Let's look at some other interesting examples. Recently, there was a fascinating heist at the Louvre Museum in Paris. Look at this man. What is he doing? He's stealing jewels from the Louvre. We can hear the E sound, stealing. But when we look at the original verb, steal, you can sometimes hear the vowel changing a little bit. Not everybody does this, but quite a lot of people do. It sounds somewhere in between ear and ear. Steal, stealing, steal, which is the same as real, meal, deal. The same kind of sound occurs in these words, idea, IKEA, which is a Swedish company, which is a European country. The strong part of the word is on the E. Idea, IKEA, European. The words idea and European look like the words area and Mediterranean. The main difference here is that the strong part of the word is on the E, as we already talked about, for idea and European. And in the other words, the strong part of the word is actually in a different place. So that means that the part of the word with EA spelling is a little bit weaker. Area, Mediterranean. In those words, the E and A start to sound like they're moving apart a bit. So let's look at some words where the E and A really sound quite separate, even though they are written next to each other. In these words, the E and A are really on two separate teams, the blue team and the yellow team. For example, letter E is on the blue team, which is the prefix team. Re and D. Letter A is on the yellow team, which is the main word. React, reactivate, deactivate. In these words, something similar is happening. Letter E is part of word 1, where letter A is part of word 2. Agree, agreeable. Irreplace, irreplaceable. You can hear that this letter E is silent because it was already silent in the original word replace. So we are not going to say anything like irreplaceable or irreplaceable, for example. Last one, I promise. What about words where the E in EA actually affects the letter that comes before it? Here we have a lobster. That belongs to the crustacean family, and it lives in the ocean. In these words, the stress falls on a different part of the word and not on the EA. In addition, the letter E actually changes the letter C that comes just before it and turns it into a sh sound. Crustacean, ocean. It does seem kind of complicated, but luckily there aren't too many words which do this. So this now is the end of the EA video, except that we haven't talked about EAR, and the reason I've left it out is because it would make the video too long, so we're going to save that for the next time. And in that video you'll learn that all of these 4 words, which contain EAR, actually have different sounds, which I'm sure you are absolutely thrilled to hear. This is the end of the EA video, and I hope it was useful, and I'll see you next time.